Hey guys, welcome back to our
Real Scenario.
Shout out to all our real lovers out there.
Everybody.
We are happy to be back.
Yes.
It is a good week. It is, like I said, officially summertime. So the weather is nice. It is not dropping back to 65 or 68.
Amen.
It's staying in the 80s and the high 70s.
Listen, I just don't like when it goes to the low 90s and the high 90s.
Yeah.
Those
That's not our climate. In the DMV, we did not, in Baltimore, we did not sign up for that.
No,
That's
we
for
did not.
Arizona. That's for Texas.
Yes.
That's for California.
Yes.
That's not our area.
That's not our thing.
That's
That's
not
not our
what we
thing. Keep
asked
us
for.
mid 80s to high 70s. That's right where it's good.
Exactly.
Yes, yes,
Exactly.
yes.
So today's a great day. Obviously because we're back here talking to our real lovers. But also we had our first guest episode.
Shout out to y'all with all the love.
All the love.
Oh my goodness. Wasn't that such a good feeling?
It was such a great feeling.
Yes.
Like I said, to you plan with the guests and you say this day is going to happen and everything, but to actually have it happen and it come out, and then it's getting such a good reception. Like I'm loving that. And I really appreciate Amanda for taking the time.
Yes. She was so fun to talk to.
Fun.
I was counting when we did the premiere on YouTube.
Yeah.
The number of impersonations.
Yes.
I think we got up to 5. I think there were 5 different voices separate from hers, which was probably one of my favorite parts of the interview. Obviously, she gave a lot of really great information and let us see a side of her that you don't find anywhere. So I felt like we kind of had a little exclusive on Amanda's love life, but the impersonations were hilarious.
Hilarious. Scott Cunningham, ladies and gentlemen.
Scott Cunningham, Florida.
That's that Florida.
That's that Florida.
No, but we definitely, I saw some of the comments. Somebody was like, I'm a diehard Amanda fan, and I felt like I knew everything about her. But then watching this, it was so fun and so cool.
That's dope.
So I'm really loving that. And if you have not listened to it or watched it, go check it out.
Yes, please
you might
do.
gotta break it up into 2s or 3s because it's a little lengthy.
It's a little long,
but it's worth it.
But it's it flowed so well.
Yes.
Yeah, it flowed so well.
And for that to be our first one, like,
we did that, didn't we?
There's
Let's
a
give
thing.
us
There's
okay,
a thing.
let's pop our collars a
there's
little
some
bit.
things. Yeah.
A little bit. I saw somebody say when you posted a clip of like comments, somebody was like, yo, this is the collaboration that I didn't know I needed.
Yes.
Because clearly they watch Amanda's show and they watch Real Love Scenario. So I was just like, damn, this is good.
Yeah, we're making some waves, and
I
we
love
got
it.
some other people that coming on and want to come on. It's going, but we got some.
It's happening,
We got
y'all.
some things happening.
We jumped in the deep end.
We did,
And we gonna swim through this thing.
and we was like, woo, we
Okay.
deep.
Okay,
All right,
here we
how
go.
we get out? We got to get in the stride and make sure we good. But we
Yes.
jumped in the deep end, so it ain't no going back now.
Ain't no going back.
I also want to shout out our real lovers, number one, because this is not a real love scenario accomplishment. This is a real love scenario family, real
That's
lover
right.
accomplishment. And I'm so excited that, when I looked at the Apple charts this week, I saw that we were top 200 on the Apple
Say
charts.
that.
There are 2.5 million podcasts on Apple. 2.5 million.
Yes.
To be top 200 in your category means you're in the top 1% of podcasts.
Crazy.
That is insane.
That is insane.
And that
That's
all
insane.
happens from the real lovers every
That's
week,
right.
just tuning in and supporting us. So we appreciate you guys. And in a more subcategory, we're top 30 in relationship podcasts.
Unbelievable. I had to shed a thug tear. I did. I had to, when you sent it to me, I was like, oh my goodness. Wow. I'm a little emo. Y'all done seen me cry on the podcast. We not gonna make that a regular occurrence, but joyful, man. Joyful to see the fruits of your labor
What?
rise to the top in that way was just humbling and
Yes.
overwhelmingly joyful. And it's only up from here.
For sure. Y'all better show out for us on this Juneteenth weekend that
Yes.
we recording this right now.
Yes, happy Juneteenth.
Exactly. So leading into that, our review, I want to
Yes,
put it out
let's
there.
do it.
So it's from Exclusive BK.
Okay.
Outstanding episodes, referring to the Amanda Seales episode. I'm already a huge fan of Amanda Seales from back in the day when I discovered her as an MTV VJ, and I also follow her podcast Small Doses. So when I started following YouTube recently and then saw that she was going to be a guest, I was like, awesome sauce. 100% emoji or 100 emoji. I dig her as a fellow Caribbean and New Yorker, and as a divorced woman in her 40s. I really am enjoying your content, and especially the male and female aspects of your opinions. Oh yeah, I do like the new game at the beginning too. Real lover, real lame. Shout out to you, exclusive BK. We appreciate you
Thank
for listening.
Darling. That was such a great review.
And if that wasn't a sign for you to check out the Amanda episode, if you haven't checked it out,
might as well go ahead on over there.
Go ahead and check it out. Go ahead and check it out. Oh man. So are you ready to hop into our real life love scenario?
I'm ready.
So today I was searching for like, what could we talk about? Real life love. Some things were a little like too salacious and too crazy. And I was like, nah, we ain't gonna touch that.
It's been spicy in the blogs lately.
It's been spicy.
Yes.
But then as I was looking through my saved stuff on Instagram, I saw a picture of Lance Gross and his wife and his kids and everything. And they were like all matching. And it got me to thinking, when you're out, especially during these summers, people go to different cookouts, events, amusement parks, all that stuff. The matching each other. Let's ask Rhonda.
Yeah.
What do you feel about matching your man completely? Let's start with the completely same J's, same like sweatshirt, but like his and hers type thing. Like, is that real love or real lame?
I'm gonna just have to borrow this from Amanda. Like, I don't know if it's either.
Okay.
I think it's cute when it's done right. And then I also think it can be obnoxious if you do it too much. Like, and this is no shade to them, the Casey family, which is DJ Envy and Gia and their children. They are very well known for doing it constantly. Same with Fabulous, and I don't know if they're together or not, but I'm gonna just say his lady Emily. They also are known for doing it a lot, and I feel like when it's just done constantly, it's like, well, it's a little cheesy. Like, I like to compliment. I love the idea of complimenting your partner, so you don't look like you're not going to the same place. But to constantly match everything almost identical, I just think it's overkill when you do it too much. Now, children, I think it's very cute when kids are like that. But I remember being a kid and not necessarily wanting to always dress like my cousins who my mom adopted.
Yeah.
She would put us in like the same things, and I'm like 3 years older than the one under me. I'm 5 years older than the one under her. And it's like we just walking around looking like triplets at a lot of things where I felt like I was a little old. I don't want to wear the same clothes.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. It's okay.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
Gotcha.
What about you? Like, do you feel like you and Bree, and you're like, once you have kids, do you think that this is something that you'll want to do?
I do not see myself doing that.
Okay.
I like the compliments.
Yes.
I'm the hot dog, you the bun, you know?
There we go.
I'm the hamburger, you the cheese.
That's it.
We don't need 2 hamburgers.
No.
Or 2 hot dogs.
Yeah.
Let's compliment each other because it still go good together. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Peanut butter and jelly, not peanut butter.
Not peanut butter and peanut butter.
Yeah, no, let's compliment. I like the compliment. The matchy. It's just a lot. And then I feel like that probably takes a lot of effort too.
It does.
To have to find the same thing. And I mean, the shoes maybe, but it's just a lot of effort to try to do that. But if we just coordinate, like compliment each other from a color standpoint, which I feel like most couples should do. If you're going somewhere, you should compliment each other if you're going together, whether that's a gala, whether that's a cookout, whether you shouldn't come looking like one person in sweats, one person looking nice, you know, one person got sneakers on, the other person got, I don't know, Chelsea boots or heels or stilettos or something. Like, let's match it up. Let's match it up. Compliment each other.
Yes. Everybody should have their own individual style. And I love to dress. And so sometimes the idea of being conformed to an exact matchy look is just the idea that is a little cringy for me. But I will say it's easier for women to do with their daughters. Like, literally, there are designers now that purposely design like mommy and me clothing. And I don't know if there's a lot of daddy and me stuff where, like, you know, fathers and their sons, like, you could just go to the store and see it together. But you do see that a lot with girls. Like, that's kind of a thing where you can buy a swimsuit for the mom, but it's a little girl version of the same swimsuit or similar swimsuit. So I think it's cute when it's not overdone.
When you were in a relationship, did you ever dress your men?
Yes.
Do you enjoy that? Like, you like that? Or
I do.
Was it for them having a lack of style, or you like actually enjoy like dressing them?
It was for them having a lack of style, or just like,
let me give you a little help.
Yeah, like more current style. So like, while I do appreciate trends of certain things, because trends come and go, I'm much more into classic style.
It's timeless.
Yes, it's timeless. You can wear this outfit 10 years ago, 10 years from now.
Yeah.
So particularly my long-term relationship that y'all hear me talk about all the time, he was older. And so style just really wasn't a thing for him. But he had a great shape. He was an athlete most of his life, but he just was picking the wrong clothes for his
He
body.
just needed a little help.
He just needed a little help. He also needed help with getting his facial hair situation under control. Because when we met, I was like, I don't understand. I don't like it. I don't like it. And he was like dyeing his facial hair because he was salt and pepper, but he didn't want to be salt and pepper. And I was like, babe, let the beard grow in. Don't dye it. And when it came in, he got so many compliments, like from his daughters to just other people. And we freshened up his look to make it more classic. And he actually really enjoyed me like shopping for him and helping him out with his style. So I would love if I didn't have to do or didn't feel like I needed to do that. But yeah, I feel like I'm a little fly, so I want my man to match my fly. I want to match his fly. So yes, I do enjoy doing it.
Got you.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, you and Bree, y'all kill it. Y'all always look so nice together.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
she make me.
She
look
make
better.
sure.
She make me look better. Whenever she on my arm, I look better.
That's what we here for. We here to compliment the deal. That's the word to Beyonce.
Yeah, there you go.
Beyonce.
All right, you ready to hop into our real life love scenario? Love scenario.
Let's do it. This week we hear from Baby Mama J, as she calls herself. She says, "Hi y'all. I just want to Hi y'all. I just want to preface this by saying I love the show and the advice you give. Dre reminds me of a brother that actually gives me great advice I can take and apply. And Rhonda reminds me of the auntie that's always going to keep it real from the jump.
Auntie Ron.
I am an aunt, y'all, so no problem. Okay, so I'm in my early 20s and I was in a relationship that wasn't pouring into my cup. So I had to do the tough thing and sever it. I'm still doing some healing, but all in all, I can very much say I'm over the relationship now. I want to ask, when is it too soon to jump back into the dating pool? While that might seem like, oh, well, that's not that bad. Why are you so frightened? Well, I'm currently 5 months pregnant. My ex doesn't want anything to do with the baby, so there would be no baby daddy drama. But I don't know how to go about dating while pregnant. I know neither of you have kids, but if you were in my shoes, would you start dating now? And how would you tell your dates that you're pregnant? Or should I just wait until I deliver this baby? Signed, Baby Mama J. Well, thank you for writing that, Baby Mama J. And thank you for the love.
For sure. We really appreciate you and glad that we can help you out when you listen to us. So I know we're going to hop into like the real love scenario and different principles that are in here, but I have a question for you.
Yes.
So this people, let me let y'all know, this is not me taking a stance. This is just asking a question to generate conversation that I know a lot of people have. So when it comes to this situation where somebody becomes pregnant, right? And they don't necessarily want to be with the father doesn't want to be with the woman, and then the father does not want to have the baby, right? And we all know it's a little bit different depending on which person wants to have the child or not. If the woman decides like, hey, I don't really want to have a baby, she has the power to take whatever option she really wants to not do that. She can have it and then put it up for adoption. If she wants to have an abortion in a state where it's legal and do like she can have an abortion. But if a man is like, I don't want to have this child, there's really nothing that he can do.
No.
So in this moment, and I know a lot of people say, right, oh, you laid down with her, you did the do, like you just you have to know that's a risk and that's a possibility.
Sure.
But in that situation, if a man is like, I know I don't want this, do you think it's almost better for him to say up front, like, listen, I don't want anything to do with that, or to try to force some toxic situation where he's like taking care of this child, but he don't want to be involved and it becomes a thing? Do you think it's better for him to just be completely out of the picture and like no involvement at all, or try to do it, but it's like a really toxic and unhealthy situation?
Whew, that is such a heavy question to try to answer. Man, I think... That's
hard, right?
Oh my gosh! Because
I opened up early with the heavy.
You did, but it's a appropriate question for this scenario.
Yeah,
and I often think about what would Rhonda do in this situation. I consider all things right at my age, at 39, wanting to be a mother at some point, but I've always wanted to be a mother in the family structure of marriage. I've never wanted to have a child outside of marriage, and that's just a design for me. It really honestly has less to do with spirituality and more to do with the type of family that I want my kid to have, the type of household and representation that I want for my kid. Obviously, it is in part based in spirituality because I'm a Christian. But if I got pregnant outside of outside of marriage, and I got pregnant by a man who, upon telling him I'm pregnant with his child, he says to me, I don't want anything to do with the baby and I don't want anything to do with you, I would prefer that he sign over his rights. That would be Rhonda's choice. And that's mainly because I don't want to deal with the potential of the in and out, because I know how traumatic that can be for a child.
For sure.
I experienced it with my own father, of him coming in and out of my life, and never did my dad tell my mom he didn't want me. In fact, he wanted to have a child and my mother did not want to have me at that time. She really wasn't. She already had a son, and she just wasn't. She wasn't confident that my father would be the man to have a baby with, her. But it happened, you know, and at that time in the early 80s, getting an abortion was just not as easy as it is today. And so, you know, I know the trauma of you bouncing in and out and being toxic and how heavy that is for the child. Yeah. It's irritating to the other parent, to the mom or whomever's in that dynamic. But having your kid have to go through the feelings of, what am I doing wrong? Why doesn't my dad love me? Or why doesn't he like me? Or why? You think about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, that episode.
That joint is powerful.
Dog, I cry every time.
It makes you tear up every time.
And Will is a big, you know, he's playing a teenager in that show. But he's that question of why he don't want me. Kids will feel that, and they feel that at a young age, but you feel it as long as that relationship is fractured, you know? So I would not want my child to experience that. I almost would rather tell them that, you know, mom wanted you here, mom brought you here. And once they get to a certain age, we can deal with the fact of, you know, your biological father just chose that this wasn't the life for him, but I wanted to bring life to you. And I would hope that God would see fit to bring a village around my child where they don't feel like they're missing that love. Yeah. Whether that's through my brothers, as I got a lot of them, whether that's through a new man in my life that I would meet at an appropriate time, and hopefully he can be a stepfather to my child. Whether that's through my elders, uncles, you know, just other men, teachers, however, other men or women that can just love on my kids so they don't feel fatherless. Yeah. That would be kind of my goal if that was the case. I just would not want my kid to go in and out of it. I would prefer that he really work on getting prepared to be a father. I would give him an opportunity to rethink his decision. But if he was hard set on that, I really wanted to bring life to this child, I would ask him to give up his rights. Gotcha. So that I don't deal with that.
No, that makes sense.
Now, if I was 25, Dre, 23, and I got pregnant, and a man said, I don't want the baby, I'm getting an abortion. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I'm getting an abortion. And I'm just going to pray, ask for, you know, I don't know about forgiveness because it's checkered. And like you said, I don't necessarily want to take a full on stance on it. I am pro-choice for sure, but my own reckoning with it. I would need to reckon with my God about the decision to abort and pray that God would give me another opportunity when it's right to have a baby with a man who wants to have a baby. But yeah, at 39 though, the biological clock is different. Yeah, you might just be like, all right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it and figure it out from there. No, that's a great question.
Thank you for sharing that. No, and I think that was great insight. And one thing I'll add to that too is that a lot of people, when they make these decisions, they always think about themselves and what your positioning is or your thought process would be for the kid when it comes to thinking as an adult. Like we have this societal process of thinking that just a two-parent household, no matter how the infrastructure is, how the dynamic is, will always be better than just one.
And it's not true.
And that's not true. Being somebody who was raised when not in a two-parent household for a long time, or raised with parents being divorced ever since I can remember, a lot of times, like even when this is sidetracked but still the same, is that I remember in college I took a sign language class, and in that class you learn about just deaf culture and the community. And what you realize is when people are born a certain way, like we as people who can hear, born hearing or born seeing, we have a perception of what it would feel like to go blind or what it would feel like not to be able to hear anymore.
Yeah.
But if you were born that way, that's just kind of all you know.
Yeah.
So you adjust to the life around you, but it's not necessarily as much of a missing out type of thing as it was if you were to have it and not. So I think as a kid, like if that's all that you knew, and you were loved by your aunt and your mom and your grandma and your uncles and stuff like that, and it was so much love still around you, and that's all you knew, then I don't think that you will look at it in the standpoint of like always like, where's my dad? Or I don't feel love from anybody. But if you try to force this toxic situation just for the sake of saying we have two parents that are present, then that could do a lot more damage to somebody versus just, you know, cutting out the toxicity.
Being physically present and being emotionally present are two different things.
For sure.
I mean, we talk about this so much on the show. People are physically in relationships. So you physically live in a household with a person, but there are emotional things that are void in that situation. Like, and a child needs a parent that is committed to giving them a life of goodness. It doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, but at a minimum, both parents should be invested in giving that child things that they didn't have, getting that child going into the right direction. That is your legacy. That is something that God allowed you to put on this earth, to put purpose into it. If you don't have a genuine love and joy to want to do that, to be mentally prepared to understand what discipline looks like, what spirituality looks like for this child, what education looks like for this child, you know, nurturing their gifts. If you just don't even want to show up for the job, I could not trust you to then do all of those things on the job. And I, you know, for those who might feel like my decision or my desire for the father to give up his rights, if he's truly saying, I don't want to be in his life, you might feel like that's harsh. I recognize the fact that 10 years from now, he could change his mind, right? He could say, I was young, I was stupid, or I was just in a place in my life where I couldn't fathom that. Be clear that with conversation and with understanding, I would be open to undoing that, quote unquote. But I would, again, it's my kid. It's and they don't understand the way that we understand, you know? So I would have to feel really comfortable through therapy, through understanding, reintroducing his or her biological father back into their life, because ultimately I want my child to have the influence, the positive influence and love of both parents who want to do this. And I don't care even if that's like with your stepdad, who is really like your father. Like I know you call him your stepdad, but you revere him like your biological father. So it's like, I want whoever the father figure is to be someone that loves my child like I love my child, that's going to do for my kid the way I'm going to do for my kid. So whether that's his stepdaddy or his biological father, I just want to make sure you're showing up to the job, ready to do the job.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so shout out to the stepdaddies out there. We're taping on Father's Day.
We are. Happy Father's Day.
Yes, this episode will come out after it. But happy Father's Day to the fathers, the father figures, the mentors who have showed up for children in a way that makes them feel loved, that makes them feel like they have a father in their lives. Sure. I'm so thankful for mine. Shout out to Mr. Winston, who I still call Mr. Winston.
Yeah.
Never stopped calling him that. He was a stepfather to me for years and still is. I love him deeply. And may my dad rest in peace. While he wasn't perfect, he did what he could. So I'm thankful for that.
No, we share that same. My dad passed away as well, and I saw my dad, biological father, every day for the most part. So he was always in my life, but just him and my mom weren't together.
Yes, it's a little complicated day for some of us, but very joyous. And also, wait a minute, happy Father's Day to the Zaddies. Hey y'all,
with a Z,
with a Z. Hey Zaddy. He said we love when the men take good care of their children now.
Oh man,
very attractive.
Love that. So we're hopping into baby mama Jay's scenario. I guess the first thing is she talks about moving on too quickly. Is there such thing, or like what do you think about that, and how do you navigate that space? When is the right time? When is the wrong time?
Man, I do think there is a such thing as moving on too quickly.
Yeah.
For sure. I think it's mainly when you just are holding on to parts of that old relationship.
For sure.
Even if that's like communication, you still are looking for closure, whether that's to get it from them or to get it just in your own mind. If you have a vengeful spirit about moving on, like, the saying, the best way to get over someone is to get under somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
If you're using that as a reason that you should be moving on, I think it's too soon. You should never be using the next person to get over the previous person.
Yeah.
That's what we call rebounding, which just it's not usually healthy because you're rebounding with someone that you probably won't wind up with. But in baby mama Jay's situation, I know we'll get to our final thoughts on it, but I would venture to say that while being with child is a little too soon to move into a new dynamic. But I think it's such a case by case basis though, right? Like some people can get over their situations quickly, like
For
30,
sure.
60 days. I'm good. Like it was already a mess anyway, because the relationship was probably ending before it really ended.
For sure.
But I don't know. What do you think?
So I agree with you. Well, number one, I want to say this for people. I don't think we have to deal with this with our real lovers, but just to make sure, is like whenever most people give advice or giving an opinion, we're not talking in absolutes.
Right.
A lot of times we say something, we're just saying majority of the time or most of the time, not all of the time.
Yes.
You will always find a situation to where may not apply. There's an exception. Yes. But with that being said,
you tell how much that frustrates us.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so you came up with the one scenario that it doesn't apply.
Right.
It gets
Good
me.
job. We got it.
It's like when I'm gonna go a little mini rant. It's like my last clip where I talked about how women want a man with a plan, and somebody answered on the caption was like, "It ain't about a plan; it's about executing." And it's like, okay.
I'll get up and leave.
Listen, execution is perfect, but what can they execute without first creating a?
You need the plan
to
so
execute.
You can go ahead.
You don't got to combat me. We talk about the same thing. Execution is important, but we saying a plan at least put something in place to be executed.
That's right. We also understand the fact that some people can create a plan
and not execute it.
We not talk.
No. That's all I was just saying. Like, just we think with our brains. You know what I mean? That's what we need to do.
Yes.
But when it comes to moving on too quickly, it makes me think about like when I play sports, and after every game, we would go and watch film of the game because the thing is, you can notice things when you're in it. But until you're out of it, you can't really evaluate the whole total process of the game. You'll notice some things, but I didn't even see that, or I didn't even know that happened, because now you're out of it. When you're in it, it's just hard. Like you're in the ebbs and flows, the emotions, the adrenaline. And I feel like that's the same for relationships. Like it's hard to really evaluate and heal when you're in it.
That's so true.
You got to come out of it. And the first thing you need to do, I feel like we always talk, or people always talk about healing after a relationship. First, you need to evaluate the relationship and figure out, all right, what went right, what went wrong? Because then you can start to figure out what the best treatment would be for your healing.
Yes.
Like if I need to go to therapy, if I need to talk to this person, if I need to do that, but take time to evaluate your situation first. And then you can heal. And then once you are in a place to where you are, healed and ready to move forward, then you can move on.
And I will add one quick thing about your evaluation, and it's evaluating both.
Yes.
Both parties.
Both parties. Not just them. Also you. What you did, if you did anything, even if it was just allowing things to happen. For sure.
That's still a part of the evaluation.
For sure.
But please.
No, and I was just going to add that there are certain times to where people meet people who walk with them through that healing process, even when they're not fully there. Very rare. It happens though. But I don't want you to hold out hope for that person. I'd rather you get healed, because that person, it takes a certain level of maturity and a certain level of patience.
Oh my.
Like that person has to be a patient person and really love you. And you don't hold out waiting for that person.
No.
Like just get healed. Like take the time to evaluate yourself, like Rhonda said, evaluate the relationship, things that you could have did better, and then start to heal. And whatever you need to do that, whether that's a book that you're reading, whether that's encouragement from something else, whether that's going to therapy, figuring out what you need to do to heal before you move on.
I agree. I could not agree more. Bleeding out on someone, which is what I think about, metaphorically. When you talk about like getting with someone to help you get over someone else. That person does have to be really patient. That person does have to be really emotionally mature and understanding of the fact that you're bleeding out all over them. And sometimes that can create the cancer that Dre talks about often in times in relationship, and that's resentment, where they have helped you get through a really tough time in your life. And now potentially at the end of that road, they are so full of resentment or so full of like, I did all of this for you, that sometimes the relationship just doesn't work out.
For sure.
Like it winds up being a season because they just were trying to get you through a tough season. Now that they've got you through it, they feel beaten up. They might feel drained and exhausted. Their cup is potentially empty because you didn't have a place to pour from. You were going through something. You were going through a breakup or a difficult relationship, recovery. And now their cup is empty, your cup is full, and hopefully the reciprocity comes into to the dynamic. But I've found that sometimes it does not. So I would not, like you said, there are exceptions. These are the exceptions. I would not encourage you to go looking for a person to help you get over the ex.
Yeah, and then that resentment, what we're talking about is like Rhonda said, if you're bleeding out, that seems like much more of an emergency and what attention should be diverted to. But that person that you are in relationship with may have their own struggles and issues.
Yeah.
But they will resent you a lot of times if all the attention is always focused on you. It's like I said in my Red Table Talk episode, it's like I have the flu, but you have a broken leg. So obviously we're focusing all the attention because that's a major thing that's happening and there's a pain and everything. But it's like, hey, what about me? I'm still hurting.
Yeah.
Like I still have some things I'm trying to get through. Like, hey, anybody worried about me? And it's like, no, because this is rightfully so. It's an important thing, but maybe you should have got that healed before we got into the relationship. So then we could both help support each other.
Yeah.
But like you said, that resentment can come in if I feel like all the attention, all the resources, everything we're doing is focused on getting you straight. And then it's like, hey, what about me?
What about me? Yeah. Yeah. That's, man, that the leg and I forgot about that. That's good. It's like the whole Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter. It's like, but this one is on fire.
Yeah.
That other house is fine. Help me. Help me. You posed a really thought-provoking question at the top of this conversation about abortion. And I kind of want to toss it back to you and ask a question that might be a little touchy.
Okay.
But I feel like we need to talk about it because this is a woman who wrote in who is currently pregnant.
Yes.
And interested in dating and interested in going out, putting herself out there to meet someone. So as a now married man, but go back to single Dre, to Dre that just was an available bachelor.
Yes.
Do you or would you have even batted an eye at a woman who was carrying a baby that was kind of showing you the hints that like, I'm interested in you, flirting with you, but you can clearly see there's a bump. And let's just say she's your type. She's your preference. You outside of the baby bump, you would date her. Would you even consider talking to or dating a woman who is currently pregnant?
Oh man. Consideration, probably consider, which means I would be thinking about what that could look like, what's the possibilities, especially if she was somebody who was my type. But I think when it comes to this as a man in general, because I do speak for the men sometimes when it comes to this podcast. Yeah. I think the first thing, and women, this applies to women too, the first thing you have to do is unmarry yourself from the expectations. Like that's the first, I feel like that's always the first hurdle, is that you in your head had an idea of what your life would be like with the person that you will ultimately be with. And you had this expectation. And a lot of times people have the expectation of, this will be a person that they won't have any kids and we'll start our family together and we'll do all these different things. So if you run into somebody who you really are, you feel like you have great chemistry with, you're compatible with, you really like, they're your type, you first have to start to unmarry your or not put your expectations that you had on them, or unmarry yourself from the expectations that you ultimately had, like for your life, which can be hard. Can be hard. And then you have to decide what you want to do. Like what do you ultimately want to do? So it's different for men and women, right? Like as a man, even if I'm 35, 37, the prospect of a possibility of marrying somebody or finding a woman who does not have a child is very high still for me. Because a lot of times at 35, 37, I'm probably further in my career, probably can provide more security, and do a lot of the things that a woman is looking for in a man who they want to take serious. So I could probably date a 27-year-old, a 28-year-old, 29, maybe 31, somebody who doesn't have kids, and still like keep the expectation of what I want. So for a lot of men, the clock doesn't necessarily feel like I have to settle sometimes. It's like, nah, that's not really what I want. I got time. To where I can see on the opposite side for women, it's like, okay, right now, if I'm, let's say 34, 35, I ain't dating no man who's 27.
Right.
So I'm looking
probably
at
not.
Yeah, probably not. That's not high on my list. Because they probably feel from a maturity standpoint that person won't be where I need them to be. So I'm looking at maybe, let's say 33 to 46, 47. Has that man already had a kid, been married before? All the chances of that being a thing is a lot higher. So you have to, as a woman, it's like even though this is not ideally what I wanted, this may be something that I have to consider now. So I can understand the difference between both genders. And then lastly, I'll just say, I just know that every couple, like, it's just a couple thing that you want to experience things together. Like, especially new things. Like, even sometimes, like, I won't say that I'll say no, but like, let's say we're choosing places on vacation and you know that your person has been that place already with somebody else. Then you like, man, we ain't going there.
You and your ex went here? Nah, let's look at something else.
Let's look at something else.
Millions of
maybe
places
we can
in the
go
world.
there at some other point, like stop on a cruise or something. But we ain't going. Nah, we doing something new because I want to experience everything I can possibly new with you. And having a baby is the same thing. It's like, yo, I want to enter into parenthood and have you experience the things and do the classes and all that stuff for the first time, like us doing that together. But to know it's like mentally that person has already gone through that experience possibly with somebody else, or that even the baby that this person will birth isn't yours. And it's like, dang, you are having this experience. And although, I have to mentally, I'm trying my hardest to shift to be like, this will be my kid if I take you serious and this will be our kid. Still, it's like,
that's a lot to consider.
It's still not. And then there may be a point to where that kid then asks, no matter how great of a parent that I am, what happened to my real dad, or real parent, and
or
it's
if,
like,
if it comes up,
then it's like, okay, like then that you still face with that reality. So I feel like for me, and that if you're going back to the question, for me, I think when I was younger, I probably wouldn't have done it. I'd never even with they tried to make fun of me on the Amanda episode about my shenanigans back in the day. But I never slept with a woman that had a kid. Never. I just didn't like, I don't know, it's just a certain level of seriousness that I feel like I had to be with that, like to not play around with her. Like, I don't know, you have a kid, like, and I've had girls who like try to introduce me to their kid and I'm just like, I know what type time I'm on. And I don't even want to play with you like that. I don't even want to get involved like that because I understand.
Respectable.
That's
why it's like, Dre's shenanigans were for the most part seriously handled with care and responsibility. He just was a young man. Like, and that's why I'm like, it's not, you weren't really any different than most 22, 23, 24, where you out here enjoying yourself. And as long as the other person on the opposite end is also enjoying themselves and is not thinking, or you're not manipulating them or making them think that you're like wanting more than you really want, then it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just enjoy it. It wasn't too crazy. It wasn't like he was out here being toxic.
Nah, I wasn't like, I feel like toxic.
It was just like, I don't want a girl right now.
Yeah.
I'm having fun. I'm snacking, as you used to say.
Snacking. Yeah, I wasn't like in the office doing stuff. Like, some people, they get crazy with it. And I'm like, nah.
It wasn't. I just was young and fun.
Yeah.
Young and having fun. That is the mind, the thought process that you have about this is, I think, refreshing. And what, at least a woman for me, even if I was younger, if I was 10 years younger, if I was 15 years younger, if I was 25 and I was a mom, and I'm out here dating, right? Not necessarily pregnant, but the child is here. I want a man to really seriously think about it before he approaches me. If you're going to find out that I have a kid probably within the first conversation. I think I've never dated someone and we didn't get to that quickly. Like, do you have children? So if I tell you, yes, I have a child, and then we get to the part of, my intentions behind dating. If I tell you, like, I am not looking for anything casual, I want something more serious at some point, soon. I would appreciate a man being like, you know what, I ain't even on that type of time. I'm not here to be responsible, because I know there's some people, men and women, I've heard say, like, I am not, when you dating someone with a kid, you shouldn't even be thinking about the idea of being their step parent. Like, who said you're going to be their stepdaddy? Who said you're going to be their stepmom? And it's like, yeah, but who said I wouldn't be? Like, you just don't know.
That has to be part of the consideration.
Yeah, like you don't know what's going to happen. Again, if we don't both establish that we want something really casual, straight up front, like, trust me, it's moms and dads who have one night stands. Like, they don't want a future. But if I tell you I want a future, I think you should say to me, if you just looking for something casual, nah, I'm just looking for something casual. And if that's not what I want, then we should just dismiss the situation. So that thought process of consideration, like, nah, like, I hear you, but I don't even want to get hot and heavy into this, because I am not interested in becoming a father figure to your kid. I think that would allow the woman to be informed and make an informed decision that, okay, this guy might just be my homie, or this guy might be my friend with benefits. This guy might, if I'm going to keep him around, he's going to have to be around in a casual thing. So I know not to introduce him to my kid. I know to never see him with my child. I probably, if it were me, I wouldn't even entertain you on the phone or FaceTime or anything when I'm in heavy interaction with my child. Like, perhaps I only talk to you once my kid is in bed, or when my child is away at grandma's house or their dad's house or whatever. So that way you can keep the lines separated. But the tricky part is when you come in and you start doing all of that, and you make the woman believe that you are there for that, and then it doesn't work out that way. Now you've been in this child's life, and now what do we do? Right? Like, I think about that too, because it's not like their biological parent. 9 times out of 10, if you were dating someone and your boyfriend or girlfriend has a relationship with your kid, and then the relationship falls apart, like, what do? Now that they've had a relationship with your kid, like, that's not their biological child. So do you ask them to still stay around? Do you have to break this news to your child that, like, I know you like Mr. Dre, but me and Mr. Dre not gonna work out. And with that being said, Mr. Dre's not gonna be around, and he's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's a breakup for the kid too. So I think all of these things need to be considered when you're dating someone with children.
For sure. And even to that point, what you do in that situation sometimes, if you keep introducing these people, is that you then start to make the child less accepting to the new people who come in.
Yeah, because
it's like I don't want to get attached, because who knows how long this person may be here. And I also think that, like, what I want baby mama J to understand is that some relationships, they tend to be like, everything isn't like we instantly fall in love type thing. Like, sometimes it's a slow burn when it comes to a relationship. Somebody may meet you, you have the child, y'all may interact, you may get to know them, hang out sometimes, may not. And then over time, like, as that person gets to know you, you may develop a relationship. It may not be the traditional, like, we dated for a few months and then now, like, we're together. You know, it may take a little bit more time.
Yeah. It's I keep thinking about myself, right? Because that's what we do. We place ourselves in situations.
Yes.
If I was pregnant and The dad was like, nah, I'm good on it. I don't know that my mindset would even be on dating. If I'm being honest with you, I don't even know. I think you always crave companionship, like in any form. We all crave it. Some of us crave it from like, I really want a life partner. Some of us crave it like, I just want somebody over here to touch my back and like grab me some chips and, you know, do nice things to me, and for me. But I just don't know if while with child, I would be thinking about meeting like a new person, because I would be so scared to deal with the rejection around, or just having the conversation around like, so where's the dad? Like, you single and pregnant, where is the man? And then I don't want to lie. I'm going to have to tell him, well, he said he doesn't want to be in the child's life. Well, why does he say that? Why doesn't he want to be? Is he really just a piece of crap? And if he is, how you get pregnant by him? I don't want to go through those conversations. I have no desire to try to explain that. So I think my mind would be so far removed from dating somebody at that time. And it would be so locked in on, one, getting through a pregnancy and being healthy and you know, nurturing a healthy baby inside of my body, preparing for that baby to come into this world. Is the home prepared? Do I have all the things that I need? Are all of my appointments lined up? Do I have somebody to drive me? Because clearly I'm not doing this with the father. So like, who's going to be my emergency person if I go into labor? Like, I'm going to be thinking about all of these things to like prepare to be a mom, especially if this is my first kid. So I don't even know that I would be thinking about like dating anybody at all. I think I would be so comfortable with being companion deprived in that period, because right now I've got to really lock in on motherhood. I've got to really lock in on what that's about to look like. And I also feel like I can't put myself in a man's shoes, right? But I think it's such an honorable and like selfless thing to come in and be there for somebody else's baby, especially pre-birth.
Yeah.
Like, I would, if a man is talking to me, Dre, and I am like going through contractions, I'm doing all the things that women have, like cramping and bloating, and your face is expanding, your ankles are swelling. You know, all women don't experience this, but a lot of them do. The illnesses, if I'm dating somebody, should I expect him to support this process? Like, what happens if this is my little boo? We've been kicking it, and then I go into labor.
Yeah.
Do I call him? Like, hey, I know this not your baby, but yeah, I'm on my way to the hospital. Like, I just don't, like, my mind is so blown right now, just really trying to think about that. Like, would I feel bad if he didn't, though? Would I understand when he was like, all right, well, you know, have a safe delivery. Hope all is well. I'll see you when you get out the hospital, baby. Like, I don't know. How does he fit into that place? So any man that would do that, I think he just inherently is taking on the role of stepdaddy.
Yeah.
Like you are.
And I think that, I completely agree. And I think that it's also like that's one of the challenging parts when it comes to dating somebody that's already has a child or somebody with child, is like, you don't know what your place necessarily is, and you don't want to sometimes overstep.
Yeah.
Like, do I say something or do I not say something?
Right.
You shouldn't be eating that, or like, you want to have a glass of wine, I don't think you should drink, you know, whatever. And it's like, can I say that to her or no?
Or should I just mind my business about everything with the pregnancy?
Or should I not say nothing? Like that? That's what makes
it's complicated.
It really tough to know, like, what should I do?
Yes.
And when should I say it, and how should I say it? Do I have the authority to say it?
Yes.
But one thing I wanted to mention too, with one thing that you had brought up earlier, is sometimes when you're talking about the relationship that people have with other people's kids and like bringing them in and stuff like that. And I want to say that dating sometimes is a game, right? And it's like a hunt, and it's like fun for a lot of people, especially for men. And you got to think that sometimes somebody could use that as an advantage when it comes to dating, right? It's like, how do I get the one up? How do I make her fall in love with me? How do I do these things to have her essentially wrapped around my finger?
Yeah.
And sometimes men aren't necessarily thinking, how do I get this girl wrapped around my finger, like literally, but it's like subconsciously, it's like, how do I get this person to be thinking about me all the time and do the things that I want her to do? And you know, women are sucker for men who seem to be good dads and take care of their kids. You just seen me
get a shout out to the zaddies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like women love that. So if I can show up in your life and play with your kid, and your kid loves me, and when you see me interacting with them, it just makes you smile, especially knowing that the father of that child isn't present or isn't doing things that they need to do. You're just looking like, oh my gosh,
this is not even his child.
And you are seeing, and then if your child talks about how much they like this person, and they ask about this person when that person isn't even there, then in your mind you start to form this reality or possibility of that person being in that position. And then once you have that and you really fall in love with that, then that person can use that to manipulate you, get you to do things for them, and you know, have you do things outside of yourself that you normally wouldn't do. But it's not a genuine, I want to be with you and your kid. It's more, I'm looking at the chess pieces on the board and I'm using what's on the board to my advantage to win this game almost, and to get the things that I want to get. If it wasn't a kid there, they will find something else to try to use to do that, you know, to use to their advantage to get something out of you. So you just got to be mindful of that when you are really entering into situations like that.
Yeah, man. You know, when I read this scenario, it made me think about celebrities who are, you know, very well revered for their decisions to be with people who had really young children. First two that came to my mind, obviously Ciara and Russell. Ciara, the singer, if you don't know, and Russell
Wilson.
Lord, there's so many Russells. I'm like,
it is a lot of
Simmons. Russell Wilson. When he met Ciara, she had just had baby Future. He was 6 months. He was 6 months old. And I remember an interview where he talked about telling his mother that he met Ciara, right? Like, I met this girl. She's great. She's awesome. I really like her. And when she has a young child, and his mom was like, yep, that's all fine and well that you like her and she's beautiful and all of these things, but I need you to think about the fact that she has a young child, and if you are willing to be a father to that boy. No, we know he has a father, clearly, but if you're going to proceed with her, you have to consider that. If you really like her, you got to be prepared to step up to the plate. And he said, like, he really had to think about that. And he was willing to step up to the plate in that way and support her however she felt she needed to be supported. And now all these years later, I think baby Future is like 9 or something. And
wow, that's so long ago.
Crazy. I know the women gonna agree with me, but I don't know about our male listeners if they gonna agree, but here we are. That's that man baby. That's Russell's son, y'all. Now I know that that's not his biological son, but he calls him dad. Russell calls him son. It is clear from the outside looking in, because we don't know all the intricate details, but that is a father-son relationship. And I'm not here to cast judgment on Future. I believe that Future, the rapper, has a relationship with his son. I believe that wholeheartedly. But that's the man in his household. That's the father that he wakes up to and goes to sleep to every single day. And so I think if you're going to do it like Russ. He jumped in head first. But you know, I forgot about this one. Speaking of Red Table Talk.
Well, let me say something about the Russ and Ciara.
Yes.
Little side note is that I kind of broke their relationship back in the day.
You did. You did.
Remember that? I like took a picture with them I was at a club in Josephine's, a club in DC called Josephine's. It's my birthday. My graduation. I was lit, and they was like, "Oh, Ciara in the building," and my cousin was like, "Let's go over there." So we looked at her, saw her, and he was like, "Whose back is she rubbing?" Didn't know who it was.
Ooh.
And then he turned around and was like, "Yo, that's Russell Wilson."
Yeah.
What are they like?
What's going
on with this? So I was drunk and I was like, you know what? I'm about to go over there and ask for a picture. And I pulled my phone out. I told him, he's like, "Yo, I play football. You know, I just graduated. I just want to get a picture." He was like, "Oh yeah, cool." He went to take a picture of me and Ciara, and I was like, "Nah, all of us." And he was like, "Cool." Then we took the selfie. And then it was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And I was like, "Great night, you know, graduation."
Yeah.
But you like, "Oh, cool." Next day, it's on Media Takeout, Hot 97, Wendy Williams.
Wendy Williams is where I saw
Wendy Williams
Yes.
is like, "Yo, they together now." And it's like, oh, shoot. Did I just like break
And did
this
they
guy.
just take it like they got it off your page? Like somehow somebody.
Yeah, they took it off my Instagram.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy,
Yes,
crazy.
I remember
crazy
that. I remember that. I can literally see the picture right now.
Yeah. So always, place in my heart, Russell and Sierra. But
Yes.
I love their story. But I want go ahead with the next
other one. I forgot about this because it happened so long ago. But Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, when they started dating, Trey, his son from his first marriage, was like 1.
Yeah.
And I remember Jada, Cherie, and Will did a red table talking about this. And but the bulk of it was Jada and Cherie, because their relationship was very difficult in the beginning because Trey, I believe, was so young. Will had like divorced. Their divorce was like, I think in 94. And Trey was born in like 93, 94. So they got divorced very soon after becoming parents. And then Will starts dating Jada like a year later. It was just like so much was happening so fast. And so I think obviously Cherie, being the ex-wife and the mom of the child, is like, damn, like so
did you ever love me?
Like you just on to the next one like this. And it they talk about, which if you've never seen that episode, I know Red Table Talk gets a lot of crap for being quote unquote toxic. But as a person who watched a lot of the episodes over the years, I very much disagree.
Yeah,
yes, there've
sure.
been some episodes that are like, what the hell? Why did y'all do this? Y'all know the one. I'm not going there. But there have been some really great conversations on that table.
Yeah.
And the one between Jada and Cherie and then Will was really, really good because they gave the true idea of what y'all see now as a beautiful blended family. It did not start like this. It was tough. I didn't like her. She didn't like me. It was drama. I ain't want nothing to do. I think Jada was like, I ain't want nothing to do with that baby. That's your baby. That's your baby. I'm just here with the man. But now I think Trey is 30.
Yeah.
And they all have a wonderful relationship. And so I do think obviously are examples of it working, but it requires patience and understanding and truly putting the child first. If you put the well-being of the child first, I think it's easier for it to work. If every party is like, set my feelings aside,
For sure.
set my resentment aside, set my damn why you do me like that, but then you gave her da 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 da. If you could set all of that aside and say, what does the kid need right now? I think you can get a great situation out of it.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want 2 moms? I would love to, I love my mom. She's great. But if I had 2 of those, oh my gosh, like that's incredible. So, those 2 examples, I was like, there are people who have done it. Now, granted, Sierra wasn't pregnant.
She wasn't.
She wasn't pregnant. The baby was born.
And then we also know that these are celebrities,
Yes.
and
It's a little different.
It's a little different. I take a courtyard view with the Ritz versus ocean view with Motel 8 anytime. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a little different.
It is a little
and
different.
you can hire nannies and stuff like that. But the concept, like, I mean, even though you say like, oh, they have more resources to take care of the child or whatever, they also are at a level of celebrity to where they easily could have picked someone who did not have a child.
Absolutely.
You don't think Will Smith could have?
You don't think Jada could have pulled a man that didn't have a new baby?
Yeah, Jada could have pulled a man, or that Russ could have pulled.
100%.
No.
100%.
So it was definitely a choice that they made and a
Yes.
decision that they had to take into consideration.
Yeah.
Everything. And I'm sure that we don't hear much about like Russell's conversation with Future,
No.
the rapper at
Right.
all, but I'm sure they had plenty of conversation.
Yeah.
And seeing the type of guy that Russell seems to be, I think that he probably almost invited that, like wanted
Absolutely.
to have that, because
Yes.
he did not want to disrespect or do anything like overstepping or anything like that, and make sure that he feels comfortable with the situation. But again, they were not actively pregnant.
Yes.
So I will say with baby mama J, my overall advice is, I don't know if I would go searching for like a relationship or dating right in this moment.
Yeah.
I understand that companionship is something that we all want and value. And in a situation like this, when you're with child, like it would be awesome to have somebody.
Yeah.
And you probably envisioned your life when you were at this point with child, that you would be going through this with someone and they would be
Sure.
supportive and helping you. So I think that can sometimes be some of the wish or the desire to date. But I would just say just go about your life normally as you're preparing to be a mother.
Yeah.
Now, if in this process somebody comes along while you're doing your thing, then you can engage. But still, like Rhonda said, if they're interested in you, you can say like, I'm pregnant. You know, I'm about to have this baby. Right now, probably isn't the best. We can continue to converse and get to know each other, but something serious as far as a dating thing, I'm not ready for that right now. I'm entering into motherhood. This is my first child. I'm assuming that it's like this is my first child. And I need to take the time to really, you know, prepare and be focused on this. And I feel like somebody will understand. And if they really care about you or they really want to be with you, that'll be known. You'll be able to see that. They'll understand. And then they'll probably still be supportive of you through that process. They might check in on you. Hey, how's it going? Just seeing if you need anything, I could bring you something today, like or something like that. And then, you know, you'll see who's really there for you. But I don't know if I would go searching or looking for somebody to date right at this moment.
Yeah, I agree with Dre 100%, literally word for word. I think it's a hard enough hurdle sometimes to get over when you are trying to date once you have a child. Like if you're just a parent and you're trying to date, I think it already poses, you know, a lot of considerations that you didn't have to think about when you were just single and by yourself. So to try to then do that while with child, I just think I just don't want baby mama J. I don't want you to deal with unnecessary rejection.
For sure.
An extreme amount of rejection, because I believe that yes, while there are exceptions, there may be a man that will see you with child, understand the dynamics and think, I don't care, you know, like doesn't matter. I'm looking at you for you. Whatever, I'm down. I'm here to rock and roll with you. He is the exception. The rule is most men would see that as a big old red flag of nope. I don't know what's going on with that, but I don't want nothing to do with it. And you also cannot guarantee, and it's the last thing I'll say about it, you cannot guarantee that you will not have baby daddy drama because that man told you a couple months ago that he didn't want anything to do with the baby. You don't know what's going to happen once you have the child.
For sure.
You don't know who might see you, come around you, go and tell him like, yeah, I saw baby mama J and the baby's beautiful and they seem to be doing well.
She has your eyes.
Yeah, you don't know. I don't know if you have a relationship with anybody in his family, but family can be very instrumental in these processes where now grandma wants, maybe he don't want nothing to do with the baby, but his mother wants something to do with the baby.
Very true.
You know what I mean? Like his sister wants something to do with the baby. His brother wants something to do with the baby. You are at the infancy of what this is going to look like. So trying to date and bring a new person into something that is uncertain even for you, I would not suggest you do it. Just focus on being a mom right now. Focus on bringing a healthy child into this world and setting them up for success. And you can worry about dating a little bit later. Yeah. It's not a priority.
And she says she's in her 20s,
She's
right?
in her early 20s.
Early 20s.
Yeah. Like, baby, had this baby and set that baby's life up and your life up to get ready to bring in something that is probably the greatest thing you'll ever give to this world, which is your child. So dating shouldn't be on your mind right now.
And then understanding that dating is also a two-person game.
Yeah.
Like you want to be in a position to be there and show up for the person that you're with.
Right. How you gonna do that with a newborn? You might not even be able to show up for yourself.
Yes.
You got some moms around you that tell you they didn't sleep for 2 days because of feeding schedules, because the baby's crying all night. You don't know if you're going to be able to support a man and be there for a man in the way that he deserves when you are,
especially in the first year of your relationship.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So you want to be better positioned. Like I said, if something happened, there's always exceptions. If something naturally happens,
yes,
then it naturally happens, but not like a search for, like, I don't think this is the time to search for,
a
man.
No.
At this moment.
No. We love you, baby mama J, and we want you to have a safe delivery.
For sure.
Wishing a healthy, happy baby in your life, but You can worry about the man later, baby.
For sure.
You got time.
You got time.
Well,
early 20s.
Yes. Thank you for writing in. We really appreciate it. And if you want to write in, you know where to find us, relationshiprestore.com. Click the contact. You can write into our show or for the girls. And make sure you follow us on social media. I'm at Ronnie Cakes.
At SJ Smith.
And at Relationship Restore. And let me just apologize. I'm a little under the weather today. I don't know if y'all probably noticed it. I'm nasally. My breathing is a little tough. We happy the summer is here, but it comes with allergies.
Comes with things.
It comes with allergies.
You sound great, Rhonda.
Thank you. We'll see you guys next week.